is not here. We can sing as much as we want to. Yes, as much as we want to. Invisible penis. Invisible penis. Here's an invisible penis. And it goes in Ted's ear. Bop, bop, ba, da, bop. Doodle-doo, doodle-doo, bop, bop, ba, da, bop. Invisible penis. Right, that's quite enough silliness for one day already, isn't it, staff? Don't need those anymore.
Crazy Domains made it easy to buy a domain and build a website with a .co.nz.
Stream. Very nice. Very nice. All right. Welcome to the show. You know the drill? A large Q, a colon. Write your question. Suffix that with a question mark. It makes it easier for Ted, His Majesty Ted, King of the Bears, to find the questions and to bring them up on the screen for yours truly to answer to the best of my ability. As you can see, without the assistance, the able assistance today of Her Majesty Pim, Queen of Pirates. Sad story. I was flying around in tin cans last week, stateside, between here and there, that is, and around there as well. And, well, I caught some kind of gorilla sloth pox or something while flying around in tin cans. It was quite nasty. Anyway, I was turned into a newt, but I'm better now. However, Her Majesty Pim, Queen of Pirates, not so much better. And so she has taken the coward's way out and decided to sleep it off instead. Good for her. Excellent. Right. So those are the updates. Oh, one more update. Yes. I've entered into a contract this week to purchase a ranch, farm, if you like, here in New Zealand. What we're going to be doing starting this week is we're actually going to be, well, we've decided we're going to secede from New Zealand. We're going to be a sovereign nation in our own accord. Queen Pim will be the Queen. King Ted will be the King. The Field Marshal of the Meat Militia will be, of course, yours truly, this very bad bald man. And we'll be selling citizenships to the sovereign nation of Bartia or Pim Bartia or Pim Ted Bartia or something. So look out for that. You'll have an opportunity to purchase a citizenship to our sovereign nation. You'll get a passport, a certificate, and a little flag. Plus you'll be able to come and visit us, maybe, if we feel like it. Right. That's it. So, what are the questions? For what purpose does the body produce erythritol? Does it? Don't know. Don't know if it even does. And if it does, I wouldn't know what the purpose is. Sorry about that. Great start, isn't it, on the questions, isn't it? Perhaps we should sing more. Well, why not? Invisible penis, invisible penis. Enough of that. Right, no singing. I can just hear it in my mind's eye. Pim saying, no fucking singing. Yes. All right, what's the next question? Why do Asians eat so many carbs? Well, that's a societal thing. That's what they've decided to do, and so they do. Why do they smoke? Well, same deal. Why do they work labour jobs? Well, perhaps many of them don't have too many choices. And they still live long lives. Do they? Any longer than anybody else? Source? Don't know. Hey, Dr. Kiltz. Glad to see you here. You threatened me with doing a collaborative video at one point, an interview about something or other. I'm yet to hear. Ted was very disappointed, actually. Ted would definitely like to do a three-way, if you get my meaning. All right, I'm looking forward to it. Hey, just drop me an email or a DM or something, Dr. Kiltz, and we'll get that occurring. Limitless Lindy's in the house. Good to see you, and glad there are still no limits. Yes. Will I be singing? Yes, I shall be singing as much as I want, because Pim's not here to say, no fucking singing. It's good, isn't it? Good evening, humans. Did I see a Sasquatch in Oregon? In the mirror one morning, but otherwise no. Apparently the problem is that he doesn't believe in us either. That's what the issue is there. Congratulations on what? On buying a farm ranch, which we will then turn into a sovereign nation. Yes, good. Excellent. We're not sure how much we're going to sell citizenships for. We don't want to underprice ourselves. It's very, very lucrative, perhaps. It's a form of taxation. Right. Yes, I'm sure she will. I found it was quite nasty, this upper respiratory tract infection thing, with all sorts of signs and symptoms. They seem to be alleviating a bit. I still do have a bit of productiveness, so if there's a bit of a rattle today in the old voice, I do forgive, but we're doing our best, aren't we, Ted? Are you all right, son? I think Ted is on strike because I still won't pay his appearance fee. He thinks he's important because he does the voice for the fictional character Brian Blessed. Goodness gracious. Right. So here's some of more of Pim's usual input. I'll do it now because it happens every week. Fucking jumping chat window. Won't stay where you put it. Bastard thing. All right. 84.5 years in Japan, apparently. Okay. That's not really significantly longer than in other westernized nations, perhaps. So, there you go. Right. So, super chat action. We like some super chat action from Troy. Good to see you, Troy. It's been a while. Only the super chat doesn't come up in the window, so I can't. There it is. Good. Here we go. Any chance of a video about the back and forth studies by Rhonda Patrick, Lame Norton, and Dave Feldman? Yes, that's on my list of things to take care of, possibly this week, depending on what else happens. Basically, though, in short, Rhonda Patrick, while being well-meaning, actually doesn't know what she's talking about pretty much in this regard. Lame Norton, well, he's an arrogant, ignorant, ill-educated buffoon who can't even correctly state the first law of thermodynamics, let alone apply it correctly. And he absolutely has no business whatsoever speaking about cardiovascular pathophysiology, an area in which he has absolutely no training or background whatever. And Dave Feldman, again, while being well-meaning and a good bloke, I'm sure, is a software engineer and not a scientist in any regard. Sure, he's working with some scientists like Adrian and Nick. However, they're off on this wild goose chase on the lean mass hyperresponder construct, which actually isn't a service to our community because there is nothing special about this so-called phenotypic subgroup of people. You're not special, those of you who identify as such. In fact, nobody is at any increased risk of developing any pathology whatsoever under the influence of cholesterol, any of the lipoproteins, any subfraction of the lipoproteins, or any of that whatsoever. It's all a theological fallacy, the whole lot. Well, John, if you want a piece of land to raise some sheep, perhaps you might like to purchase a citizenship to the new sovereign nation of Bartia, or Pim Bartia, or Pim Ted Bartia, or Ted Pim Bartia, or whatever we decide to call it. And then you can have shares in a sheep. And you can come and visit us, maybe, depending. Here's a question. That's how it's done, folks. You put a Q and a colon, write a question. Whoops, though, you forgot the question mark at the end. So it's only going to be an A- at best. Anyway, let's find out what the question is. Is 1 gram protein per ideal pound body weight with equal grams of fat a good place to start? I don't use freedom units because we live in the former communist state of Ardernistan, which we've reclaimed and renamed New Zealand again, which is good. I always say to folks, it's 2 grams per lean kilo of body mass, or ideal body mass, which is worked out using a BMI calculation, roughly. I know, it's parsimonious. What you do is you take your height in meters. So I'm 5'6", that's 1 meter 0.68. So I take 1.68 and I multiply that by itself. That gives me 3 point something, something, something. You then multiply that by 22.5, the ideal smack middle of the range of the BMI, and that will give you your ideal mass, and it's that you work out your protein requirements from, which should be around about 2 grams. And to get 2 grams of protein, you need to eat about 8 grams of raw meat. 8 grams when it's raw. It doesn't need to be raw when you eat it. You can cook it. That doesn't destroy it. That does not make you fucking slave. And staring at sun is bad idea. Also, Earth is not flat. Okay? And also, Sphere A does not contain a 3. All right? When you want to spell it? Yes, good. All right. Ted is always holding the Tada pose because he's always doing clever shit. Aren't you, Ted? He's really got the shits with me today, hasn't he? Come on, Ted. Oh, well, what can you do? Your 7+ clip with Max Duman repriming fasting. My 7+ clip? You stated that your whole 90-day plan is on your channel, specifically your 8-week fasting regime. Have been looking all over for it. Help! Can somebody help, please, with the links to that all that stuff? Often with my videos in the past, many of them don't appear on the YouTube platform anymore because, well, you see, YouTube changed the rules and decided that they were going to start applying penalties to videos that were uploaded as per the rules in the past, but no longer suit the rules that they've then changed. So I had to actually clear my channel out some time ago and remove pretty much everything from it. But if you rumble around on the interwebs and take an odyssey of discovery, you'll probably find that stuff somewhere else, 2 other places perhaps. Why do Big Pharma continue to market decades-old drugs with severe side effects at exorbitant prices? Well, there's the answer. Hello! Money, money, money. Money's beautiful. Off-Ev for lung fibrosis, despite promising alternate supplements backed by recent research. Well, still all about money. Good. Very good to see you too, Roxana. Very good indeed. Very good. Yes. Aren't too many questions today, boys and girls. This will be a very short live stream if you don't start asking questions more. Right. Right. Is contraindicated milk with all its carbohydrates better to consume before or after one meal? Well, it depends on whether you feel you do better with any milk in your diet whatsoever. Milk is not a requirement for humans post-weaning, and prior to that, human milk is the requirement, not cows. However, if you think it does you good and you like it, and there's no obvious problems with it, then you fill your boots up. That's one of those things that's not broken in that case and probably doesn't need fixing. And before or after a meal, well, I don't think that makes any difference, frankly. Very good. Oh, one of the things we might be doing on our farm/ranch, kiddies, Pim wants to raise Wagyu. That'll be awesome. Wagyu and sheeps and ducks, apparently. She wants ducks too, because duck eggs are fabulous, I'm told. I've never had one. Isn't that crazy, living in New Zealand and never having eaten duck eggs? Yes, happy Father's Day to all the meat daddies out there. Right, is getting sunlight for 20 minutes a day, 10 minutes at the front and 10 minutes at the back, every day at noon, a good recommendation in your opinion? Now, I tend to suggest much longer periods of sun exposure to as much exposed skin as is possible outside of the middle of the day, i.e. in the morning and in the afternoon, but when your shadow is shorter than you are tall, which in my case is not very tall at all, then you stay out of the sun. Well, at least you do down here in this part of the world where, well, our sun's a bit different from yours, isn't it? We have different sun. Yes, we do. We have much more UV because there's a hole in the ozone made by CFCs, apparently, back in the 80s and stuff. Jeremiah, good to see you, my friend. Can you please do a response video regarding the Stanford Twins vegan study that Dr. Chris Gardner did to make the You Are What You Eat Netflix special? Sure, perhaps at some stage if the fancy takes me. But basically at the end of the day, we have what is ostensibly an n=1 research twin naturalistic observation, which is about the furthest thing from science you can find, except for epididdly doodly moodly middly middly mology, isn't that right, Ted? Can't do a thing with them. Is skin photaging something real or to be worried about? You mean photo-aging? You mean, does the sun age your skin? I don't believe it does. No. No. Studies? Show me the resources that prove that that is so. What do I think of cold therapy? It's not for me. I don't like it very much at all, and I'm not convinced that necessarily it has huge benefits. I have a 5 health hacks system that I think people should follow in their lives in terms of reducing your chronic systemic inflammatory overburden, and that's not on my list of 5. It might be 6 or lower, but I stop at 5 because that takes out 95% of the problem in my humble experience. Well, my experience is not humble, let's be honest. Yes, it's a damn disgrace that, not selling human milk in supermarkets. Ducks are the best, says Rick. Well, we trust you on that, Rick. What if I've taken the plunge without transitioning? Yeah. Should I power through the symptoms? Yes. And also I'd add some BPC157 peptide. And that's what I'd do. That's not advice. A BPC, Poly Bravo Charlie 157 peptide. It's an experimental peptide, not for human use, only for experiments, but it's so very dangerous you can buy it on Amazon or eBay for yourself if you want to. It's a chain of 13 amino acids that your stomach naturally makes by itself, but usually, in very, very small amounts. So I'm suggesting that I would, in that case, take a course of not more than 30 days, just purely precautionary, that is, because there's no reason to suggest that longer is dangerous, but we just say, okay, 30 days maximum of 500 to 800 micrograms via tablet form of Bravo Poly Charlie 157 peptide. It's miraculous stuff, it seems. More research is required. Michael! Modern diseases are relatively new. Yes, that's why they're called modern. But didn't our ancestors start eating grains 10 to 20,000 years ago? Yes. Didn't this cause health implications? Yes, it did. A malformation and reduction in the robustitude and correctness of the jaw, a reduction in our stature, bone density, muscularity, brain capacity. All sorts of problems were associated with the advent of eating the seeds of grasses rather than the meat of animals. It was the second worst thing we ever did, nutrition-wise. The worst thing we ever did was to add industrialized seed oils to our diet. So there it is. Carnivore since February, and what a huge difference. Love it. Good. Well, we love you, and there's nothing you can do about it. Is Cerule capable of generating new nerve cells and heart cells? My doctor said these are permanent cells that are incapable of regenerating themselves. Okay, Cerule doesn't do that, no. What Cerule does is cause your body to release your adult stem cells from your bone marrow. Can those adult stem cells, which are classified CD34+, can they produce new nerve cells and new heart cells? Absolutely, unequivocally, yes. Your doctor is wrong. Wrong is what your doctor is there. $9.95 from Troy. Appreciate that very much. The greenback dollars. That won't be enough to get you a citizenship, of course, to the sovereign nation of Bartia, or whatever we're going to call it. Perhaps we'll call it Tedland. I don't know. I think I'm addicted to caffeine, which doesn't seem great, but I don't know if there is any real data to support that it's bad or how much is too much. I don't want to stop altogether. You may well be addicted to coffee because it is one of those things that does tend to have some addictive properties, it seems. I myself was drinking far too much coffee for myself for several years, back when. I dropped it down to 2 or 3 cups of this fine stuff today, which you can get in one of these mugs if you like. Just go to the bit.ly link that you'll find in the show notes under this video, and you can get yourself one of these fine cups too, which also come in right-handed versions. I've thought of everybody. Of course, if you identify as ambidextrous, you can get fucked. How's that? I don't want to stop coffee altogether. Neither do I, Troy. I'm not going to stop altogether. However, what I did find is reducing from about 12 cups a day down to 2 or 3 actually had the direct result, it seems, of reducing my blood pressure by 30 millimeters of mercury on both ends. Sorry about that, Ted. Goodness gracious. All right, $5 from Jeremiah. Appreciate those very much. Thank you for your input. Question, no question, but we'll take the $5. Yes, we will. That will keep the lights on for another 2 minutes or so, I suggest. No, seriously, we do appreciate all inputs financially because, well, at the end of the day, YouTube is not going to pay us commensurate to our efforts. No, they're not. In fact, they're probably going to turn down our visibility, make sure that people that actually join our channel as a paid channel member get unsubscribed unilaterally, and all sorts of other fuckery. So do help, and that will help us to be able to actually set up our sovereign nation. Scott, what's the question? Is laying on a grounding mat that's under a blanket still effective? If you are in electrical contact with that mat, yes. If not, no. In the situation here in this house, we sleep in a bed that has a grounded fitted sheet under the normal linen fitted bed sheet, and the electrical connection is made via body moisture through that sheet. However, a much thicker thing like a blanket, ooh, who knows? All right. Rick works outside almost all of the day, and the sun hasn't harmed him yet. Isn't it amazing? The very source of life, the thing that causes us to be able to exist on this planet, that people would think that that's a bad thing for us. I'm not suggesting that getting yourself sunburned is a good thing, but however, it seems that if you eat a lot of industrial seed oils, you're more likely, it seems, to be one of those people who does get burned in the sun. Just a thought. How many of our modern deficiencies do you think involve generational degradation from improper nutrition? Some. I don't know. Impossible to gauge. Impossible to gauge. Is there a generational hangover situation? Really don't know. What we do know for sure is that the species-appropriate, species-specific diet would seem to be the best idea if what you want to achieve is the best likelihood of the best lifespan and health span. Whatever. A crab's a good source of potassium. Fucked if I know. Go and look it up. Do you think I have a book of nutritional components in my head? No. All right. Okay. SHBG. You mean SBHG? It has increased to 58 from 27. Okay. On a very low carb diet. Don't have glucose issues and can tolerate carbs, though I avoid them as a rule. Would upping carbs to lower the binding globulin result in a net benefit? I don't think so. For a start, let's not be hung up on lab results, which will tell you absolutely nothing of utility whatever about your current health status, usually, nor your likelihood of any good nor bad outcomes in future, it seems. This ridiculous fucking obsession with labs. All you're doing there is supporting the labs industry, frankly. When people come to me and say, look at my labs, is this a problem? I usually say, well, before we look at any numbers here, why don't you tell me what your signs and symptoms of disease are, if any? None? Right. Well, off you fuck then. All right? Good. 4 beers on Thursday. Terrible hangover. Serves you right. Got a couple of red wines and I feel perfectly fine. Possibly something that's in the beer that's not in the wine, I would suggest in that case. Yes. All right. I can jump in chat window. Well, Master Chief, are you on duty or are you not on duty? Telephone can wait, goodness. Ted's talking. Pay attention. Stand to attention. By the way, are these maggots all in uniform, Master Chief? And is this deck squared away? No. I have checked out the ingredients on the Cerule stuff. It seems to be mostly algae. Does that not have the same effect as other plants? Doesn't seem carnivore. Thanks for the question. Okay, number one, the stuff is referred to as algae, but algae actually has no defined meaning. It's just a description for stuff that grows in water that looks green, usually. The stuff from which the Cerule product is derived is a blue-green cyanobacter. This is not a plant. This is a separate classification of living organism, which is not a plant, neither is it an animal. It's also kind of sort of a bacteria, but sort of not. It's its own classification. So it is suitable for those who claim to be carnivore and also those who claim to be anything else, because it's neither a plant nor an animal. I hope that's very, very clear. The effect that the stuff has is it causes your bone marrow to release your adult stem cells to your bloodstream, whereupon those adult stem cells do magics. It is what it says it is. It does what it says it does on the tin. It is the most incredible product I have ever come across, and it's the only product, the only company that I actually have any association with and will support their product in any way, shape or form. It's also not a nutritional supplement, it's a nutraceutical. And every single person alive should be taking the stuff every day. Why? Because when you release an adult stem cell and it floats around in your blood and finds a tissue that needs replacing, it does that with a full-length telomere. Hello? I am not allowed to say fountain of youth. So what I usually do is I say I'm not allowed to say fountain of youth. And then I have said fountain of youth 3 times within about 20 seconds, all while claiming I'm not allowed to say fountain of youth. There's 4. Excellent. Thank you for the question. What is your opinion on radiofrequency therapies to induce collagen production in the skin? I don't have one. I don't know whether it works or not. How's that? Yes, thank you, Dean. Correcting or helping somebody to understand that all comments made by myself or Ted here or on that other platform that used to be called Twitter are the opinions of the person making that comment, and they are usually generalized comments. And also Ted's language over there is just unbelievable, frankly. If you want to see, well, what Ted says when he's allowed to just speak his mind, go across to the platform formerly known as Twitter and search for HRH_Ted. There's nothing to do with me. I can't do a thing with him. He's his own man. Bear man. Don't know. Is the coffee still messing with your blood pressure? No, my blood pressure now is between 110 and 120-ish over 70, 80. Basically. Yes, show me the studies. What studies would you like to see on what topic? If I were to start with one Cerule product, which one would you recommend? Stem Enhance Ultra is the answer. That's our flagship product. The other 2 products that you should probably take because they are highly synergistic and useful are Cyactive, an anti-inflammatory, which works on the LOX and COX pathways without the side effects of the pharmacological nonsense, and Plasma Flow, which is an enzyme preparation which dissolves fibrin deposits from your microvasculature, your capillaries, or if you're American, capillaries, and clears the way for stem cells to get to where they want to be, which is a good thing. So those are the 3 products you need. They're best purchased as a wellness pack, which is a repeat monthly order, which happens on set and forget. That way you get about an 18 to 20% discount because you get a price break and they won't charge you for shipping. Whereas if you bought those products on quick order, which is just a casual one-off purchase, then you'll pay full whack, and that's silly. Oh, by the way, if you're more interested in earning money than spending money at all, let me know about it. Send me an email because we've got a program for that too. We're looking for people who want to associate with us and help us to educate the public as to the existence of the Cerule products, especially if you are living in the fine, fine city of Sydney, Australia, because we don't have enough folks there remotely. I believe there's 5.5 million people in Sydney, and there certainly aren't remotely enough Cerule promoters there to help us promote it there. So if you're in Sydney and you want to be in my team, go to the bit.ly link in the show notes under this video, or to the Cerule link, which is listed directly there. It happens to be bkaynutrition.cerule.com, and click join us, and I want to be an IBO, and then follow the prompts. Basically, it's real easy. It's also very lucrative, because the stuff is what it says it is. It's a repeat business because people need to buy it every month, and you get paid every month. So I'm getting paid for having educated people that it exists from 5 years ago. It's fantastic. I don't think most people's jobs pay them for 5 years after they stop working. Do they? If they do, let me know about it. I want one of those jobs. Anywho, red light is amazing, if you say so. Yes, it is good stuff if it's used in the right way, at the right frequencies, and the right power. Excellent. Does eating heavy cream align with carnivore diet? Sure, of course it does. Yep. If you've been eating very low carb for 20 plus years, yep, or around 20 years it says, have you noticed any negative changes in your health wellness compared to when you ate more carbohydrates? No, everything I've noticed about my health in the last, well, it's actually more like 35 years have been positive. Absolutely positive in terms of removing the vast majority, and at times the entirety, of exogenous carbohydrates from my diet, with the exception of the carbohydrates naturally found in meat, yes, which is very little, but not zero. Okay, it's going to be sunny and 22 in the bay. Good to hear, good to hear. I tell you what was amazing last week, or the week before now. We landed in Vegas, and we walked through the airport, and that was fine. And then we got to the front doors of the airport at Vegas, the sliding doors there, those glass doors, they open up. And what hit us in the face at 9:30 p.m. in the night was 103 fucking degrees. Poof! Ah! It was amazing. Quite amazing. And breathtaking and stuff. Yeah, we've had that question. Why are health organisations and the life so worried about funding that they are willing to harm people through fake studies? Well, because it's patch protection and looking after their own desire to feed, clothe and house themselves. None of these organisations give a rip-roaring shit about your health. None of them. I eat a lot of nuts. Good for you. Do they have the same problems as seed oils? Not the same ones, no, but they do definitely have their own set of problems. Perhaps you'd like to look up lectins, oxalates, and stuff. Basically, nuts and seeds are one of the last things that a human should put into their diet at all. They're very, very problematic, it seems. Bacon is a good source of potassium. Yes, it is. And other things too. Bacon, Troy, is an excellent source of bacon. Isn't that right, Ted? Oh, well, since Ted isn't interested in helping out at all, perhaps we should do a little bit of singing. Invisible penis. Invisible penis. Invisible penis. There's an invisible penis on the show. Invisible penis. Invisible penis. Where does it go? It goes in Ted's ear. Do 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 do. Anyway, no singing, says Pim. Well, she would if she was here, but she's not. So we can sing as much as we like. You're more than welcome. Fucking jumping chat window. Fuck. Jesus Christ, that's annoying. Ugh. Right. I'm over it. Not really. What is the best ground beef mince ratio to buy for the carnivore diet? 80-20, 75-25, 70-30? Thank you. The fattier the better. Usually for most people under most circumstances is the answer. Yes. Why is one meal a day better than multiple meals? Several reasons in my mind for those that can do it. For some people, it's not appropriate or suitable because they have metabolic damage that we need to work on. But for most people, generalised statement, one meal a day is ideal because, number one, every single time you eat a meal of any kind that causes an acute inflammatory response, it's ingrained in your DNA. It's a normal part of physiological function. It's because we started out as scavengers and your body needed to be ready for this meal to be the one that's going to cause you a problem. So let's do that to yourself once a day and not multiple times a day. And it lasts for several hours. So if you eat 5-6 times a day, several hours every time, you're spending a lot of your time inflamed completely unnecessarily. Secondly, you need a certain amount of protein in one whack to cause an insulinogenic bump to maintain the function of your thyroid and your kidney tissues so that you don't basically fall to bits and lose all your electrolytes and your metabolic rate gets all fucked up and things like that. So that's a good reason to do it as well. And probably some other things I can't think about right now. Sean works as a commercial roofer in the sun constantly for many years, no issues. Excellent. Is red meat a good source of vitamin B12? Yes. Yes, it is. Yes, it's always clothing optional, as far as I'm concerned. Is cannabis good or bad for eyesight? Well, how long's a piece of string? Depends on how much cannabis you intake and in what form it's delivered. In general, there are certainly indications that aspects or components of cannabis can have very meaningful and useful effects on ameliorating various eye conditions and things. Yep. Is a glucose monitor worth the investment? Depends on how much you have to invest to get one in your country or territory. I would say yes. Knowledge is power. You need to know how your body responds to various foods and things, I think. Hi from Oz. I have friends farming cattle and they tell me about the amount of antibiotics used in their care. Are we affected by this after ingestion of the meat? Potentially, depending on all sorts of things. There is a withholding period in most countries and territories on beef. Once an animal is treated with antibiotics, that animal cannot be slaughtered and the meat cannot be sold for a certain period of time after the last antibiotics have been administered to that animal. Whether or not you trust the authorities to get this stuff right or not, well, that's your own lookout a bit. Is there any way to accelerate the removal of oxalates from the body that one may have? Yes. Remove all oxalate-forming things from the diet, thus allowing the body to expedite that process. The analogy is very much like the Band-Aid analogy. You can rip it off quickly or slowly, and one of the ways to rip off that Band-Aid more rapidly is to stop slowing it down by putting more in. Okay? When trying to find info on the effects of modern diet, many sources concentrate on the fact less people are dying. Fake news. Any tips on how to find chronic disease levels data rather than death? Not really. Who do you trust these days? Who do you trust? I trust Ted. All hail Ted. Ted knows all. Ted sees oil. Oil? Ted sees all. Ted says fuck all today. Doesn't he though, Ted? How long does it take for muscle to atrophy while not resistance training? How long is a piece of string? It's individual. It's individual, very individual. Invisible penis. What symptoms could one have from eating too many carbs? Well, specifically from kefir? Who knows? Are you eating anything else or consuming anything else other than kefir? If not, you have uncontrolled degrees of freedom, you have confounds, and it's not a scientific study. So we can't answer that question unless you do nothing but consume kefir and you measure the exact carbohydrate content in that kefir every time. Good luck. But in general, the symptoms of eating too many carbohydrates are a tendency towards adiposity, although that's not a fait accompli because mass in, mass out. Okay. A tendency to be inane, ridiculous, stupid, and arrogant. That's a symptom of too many carbohydrates. Brain fog as fuck. The most amazing level of brain fog is a symptom of too many carbohydrates. Type 2 diabetes. That's a symptom of too many carbohydrates. Immune dysfunction, born of the fact that the inflammatory process of the carbs makes that more likely, and also the form in which you take carbs in is probably plant material, which tends to exacerbate that problem as well. That would be a sign and symptom of too many carbs. Yeah, all sorts of things like that. Good. Robert has cut back on coffee. That's a good plan. Just doing an experiment to see if it makes a difference. I suggest it probably will. I do keto cycling, mostly meat with 20% anything. Okay. I like the cut of your jib. Thanks, I love you too, and there's nothing you can do about it. I've already altered my diet toward more beef based on your comments. Keep it up. I shall. Until I don't anymore. Whenever that is. Yeah. If you guys keep talking about coffee, I'm going to have some. Fill your boots. What's next? Scanning for the questions. No singing. I missed the beginning, in case you said it already. How did the US trip go? Any news on the new product you were planning? Yes, thank you for the question. Okay, the trip was fantastic in many regards. Oregon is absolutely stunningly beautiful. It's a place of immense natural beauty. Klamath Lake, Crater Lake, the whole system there that makes up the ecological system in which the AFA grows. Incredible. I learned so much about that. It was an immense privilege to spend some time listening to Mr. Tom Valenzuela, who is the VP of Harvest Operations for Desert Lake Technologies, who are our partner company who harvest the stuff and make the powder from which the cerule is manufactured. Not only was I able to video his presentation and his explanations of the process by which the stuff is made, but also I got a chance to sit around with him over breakfast and lunch thereafter to really grill him in private about this and that and the other thing. Fantastic stuff. So that was immensely valuable. One of the issues was that the company had us on a very tight, a very full program. Example, or to give you an idea of that, there were 10 separate flights around over a period of just 6 days, and 2 of those flights were 11-hour flights, the one from here to the US and the one from the US back. So there was a lot of flying around in tin cans, thus catching gorilla sloth pox or whatever it was and passing it on to Her Majesty Pim, Queen of Pirates, which was a bad thing because she's very, very cross and also quite sleepy. That's why she's not here and stuff. Vegas was interesting, although not my scene, really. Very interesting. The afternoon when we left Vegas was like about an hour before the Trump circus rolled into Vegas. So that was interesting as well. Whew. Yeah, so that was that. In terms of the new product, what you're referring to there, Truth Bomb, is my request to the Cerule company to generate and produce and make available 100% clean carnivore formulations of the core product line and potentially the collagen, as well as we thought potentially the magnesium supplement. I've decided that we are not going to pursue the magnesium supplement clean because when you take the sweetener out of it, it's completely unpalatable. You can't drink it. It is vile, foul. We can't do that. We can't have that out there and have people buy that and go, God, what is this company producing? So forget that. It's not that important anyway, the electrolytes. The collagen, without the sweetener and all the other things in it that we don't think should be in it, perfectly inoffensive, quite saleable to a carnivore community, and also probably not damaging to the company if people who are outside of that community come in contact with the stuff and try it, because while it's not sweet and pleasant like the existing collagen, it's also completely inoffensive on the flip side, so it's fine. So I think we'll be going with that, hopefully. In terms of the core line products, absolutely no problems. All we're really doing is replacing the cellulose capsule with a bovine one, if we're going to encapsulate at all. We might just put tubs of powder together with little spoons. That'll be fine too. The Plasma Flow has 1 or 2 herbal things in it. They'll be going. We don't want those in there. Other than that, good to go. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. The company is alongside me. They do want to do this. They understand the need for it in my audience, my customer base. They are being helpful. They're doing it as quickly as they can. And I'm allowed to say to you that the intent is that we make this happen. And soon, hopefully. All right. Thank you for that question. Is it true that with 125 grams of protein per day, you would need 223 grams of fat per day to get enough fat in as well? No, that's not true at all. The two things are completely unrelated. Whether you get in enough fat or not depends on your needs for fat. And 125 grams of protein, whether or not that's enough, will depend on your ideal lean body mass. That's 1 cup of pure beef tallow per day. Fine. There's the answer to that question. Right. What is next? Las Vegas is nice during the winter. I'll believe you. Not during the summer. No, it wasn't. In terms of the temperature and stuff. Also, just the craziness of the place. Just everything that goes on there. And I can't tell you about it, because what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Those are the rules. I make the rules in this motherfucker. Right, what's next? Where does the fear of methionine come from? I don't know. I'm not afraid of it. And it's balanced with glycine. Is anybody afraid of methionine? I'm not. I ain't afraid of no ghost. No singing. Right. Would you make any videos about anti-nutrients and debunking vegan myths about them? Are you new here, J Ducky? I know you're not. I've been constantly doing that for since 2018, when I first made myself available for YouTube presentations and things. Why are you saying what you're saying about blood tests? That they are basically mostly useless? Are you saying that they should be ignored altogether? I'm saying usually for most people under most circumstances, getting blood tests is a pointless waste of time and money and will not supply you with any information about anything or the likelihood of anything in most circumstances. The only time I would ever suggest to a person that a blood test of any kind would be indicated is if they present to me with symptomology and I want to confirm or deny a diagnosis differentially. Okay? I hope that clarifies it. Will you play guitars for us? I have done many times, actually, on videos already available for your viewing pleasure. A couple of them are actually on this channel that you can find. Most of them, however, are on another YouTube channel called Wol Tholomew, which you will find linked in the show notes under every single one of my videos on this channel. Fill your boots, enjoy. Look, I'm not a professional guitar player by any means or stretch. It's not perfect stuff by any means or stretch. That's not what I'm suggesting. What I'm suggesting is, if you're entertained by such things, it's not too bad, most of it. Go and have a look. You might like it. My single largest video in terms of viewer numbers on the YouTubes actually exists on that Wol Tholomew channel, and it currently sits at 985,000 views, for which I got paid nothing because of copyright. Dear oh dear. Oh well, shit happens. Right, Fad Gadget, £1.99. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. No comment, but we'll take the money. What's next? Jumping chat window is what's next. Fucking fuck. Hateful bastard fucking thing. Right. Question, no, right Q, : Ted doesn't like reading whole words. The veggie community keeps saying that a plant-based diet repairs the endothelial cells. Is that true? No, there's no evidence to support that claim whatsoever, because that's a cause and effect statement directly. And there is no evidence of any kind of cause and effect for any health outcome of any kind in human beings as it relates to any kind or aspect of any diet of any kind whatsoever. The science does not exist in that field. It's theology. It's nonsense. It's rubbish. And could the carnivore diet claim such results? No, for the same reasons. Does the sun worsen laugh lines? There's no evidence that that is so. Is it generally a good idea to sunbathe regularly? Yes, I think so, in my humble opinion, be it humble or otherwise. It's not, by the way. People often say I'm arrogant. Go and look up the fucking definition of arrogant, for God's sake. The definition is inappropriate or over self-confidence. My self-confidence is absolutely indicated and thoroughly fucking earned, you insolent turds. Right, what's next? Dr. John Jackish, X3, claims hyperplasia of muscle fibers is possible. Okay. Need intake around 1.1 to 1.5 grams per kilo carbs. No, you don't need to do that. And or painfully stretch muscles within 30 minutes of training to extreme fatigue. Is this true? I don't know. Ask John. Ask him for his research that backs it up. John is a mate of mine. I'm acquainted with John. John is also one of the people who helps us with marketing the Cerule products. If you didn't know that. Probably the reason you didn't know that is because, well, he made 2 videos about it at the beginning and nothing since. It did quite well for a couple of months and then it just faded away on him because he didn't keep promoting it. So those of you who are promoting Cerule, the secret of success in Cerule is it's not a fucking secret. Tell people that you promote Cerule, that it exists, what it does and where you get it from. There you go. Love you, John. There's nothing you can do about it. I too have an X3 bar at home and use it sometimes as part of my exercise regimen, such that it is, which is completely inadequate. Actually, not the bar. My exercise regimen is completely inadequate. I'm too busy making videos for you folks, basically. If there are a few noticed lifestyle impacts for someone who's 36 years old with bundle branch block, yep, what kind of interventions besides strict adherence to a species-appropriate diet may be advisable? I would suggest that there are 5 health hacks that any given person should undertake as a means to reduce their chronic systemic inflammatory, overburden. And those 5 health hacks are outlined elsewhere on my channel. Just search on my channel for health hacks and you'll find them. I'll run through them quickly for you anyway, because why not? They are a 100% carnivore diet, Cerule products, the 3 main products we've spoken about today, grounding yourself electrically for as much time as is feasible and possible in your lifestyle, blocking blue light from your eyes after dark, and the undertaking of 3 to 4 sessions per week of around 45 minutes duration in total of high-intensity burst and repeat HIIT training and or resistance training. Thank you. And anything else you want to add to that, which is below 6 or 6 or below on the list. I stop at 5 because that takes care of it for most people. Will that solve your bundle branch block issue? Not necessarily. Really to give you any kind of advice on cardiovascular pathophysiology, one of my areas of expertise, you would need to consult with me individually and privately, for which you will need to pay the fee to do so. And the link for that you will find underneath the video in the show notes. It's the one that goes bit.ly/Bart-KAY. Okay, you'll find me cheaper than most of the social media influencers who have far less credibility, training, and expertise at large than I do. It's a public service. It's pro bono. Okay? It doesn't mean it's of poor quality. It isn't. Also, you'll be talking to me, a real, true person, rather than the character that I play here on the YouTubes for your entertainment. So you'll get the good information, but without the kind of theatrics and stuff. It's quite a different thing. Thoughts on theanine supplement and CBD to improve sleep? Try it and see if it works for you. Hope you're good. I'm getting better. I was a newt, but I got better. I had gorilla monkey sloth pox or something from flying in tin cans a few weeks ago, if you missed that earlier. Pim is currently down for the count. That's why Ted's taken over. And he really is completely taking over the show, aren't you, Ted? All right. Is mass conserved? No, it isn't. Q. Is MIMO reductionist since it doesn't take into account hormones? No, it isn't. MIMO is a statement of fact. Your mass is the balance of how much mass you took in and how much mass you lost per unit period time. Absolutely unassailable. Not reductionist at all. It's holistic. It completely describes the situation. Whereas CICO does not. Sorry about that. For those of you who are CICO devotees. Yes. Yes. Thank you, Robert. I appreciate that. Does taking Cyactive diminish training results? No, there's no evidence that that is an outcome of taking Cyactive whatsoever. Strength hypertrophy given the post-workout inflammation as part of the adaptive process. And if so, how can you take it and not affect results? Well, there's no evidence whatsoever that it does reduce your hypertrophy results or anything else. None at all. You do you, though. DC's here. Good to see you, DC. Your message is retracted, though, for some reason. Okay, fair enough. Retract away. My cattle and sheep have plenty of collagen. Good. What do you think about mouth taping at night? Does it work? For what purpose? Thanks. I've done it a couple of times myself when I've been doing dry fasting because I was just following the protocol that the Phoenix book said to do. Whether it has any effect, I don't know. John, you're still alive. Shit, I sent flowers to the family. I thought you'd left us because I haven't heard from you for a while. Send me an email, mate, and we'll get an update on what's happening. That'd be great. Shell, my favourite person, nearly. I'm not saying you're nearly a person. That's not what I'm saying. No. People often like to misquote me and say I said things I didn't. It's just funny as fuck. Why are full body workouts better than splits for hypertrophy? Well, because splits for hypertrophy are not required or necessary until you're an advanced hypertrophy athlete with quite a bit of development already. Okay. Hope that helps. But you do you. All right. What do I know? I mean, exercise physiology is one of my 3 major areas of expertise in which I have multiple peer-reviewed publications as first author and primary investigator. Fuck, what do I know? Question. No, write a Q. Don't write question, write Q, : That's what Ted's looking for. Have you anything to say re all this bloody rain? Yes, it's been raining a lot here in the Tasman district. We needed it because we were in drought by the end of summer, which is reversed to those of you who are in the other hemisphere. We're coming to the end of winter. It's the start of spring now. Isn't that amazing? Just yet more evidence that the earth isn't flat, if you needed any. Question. Ancestors ate more bone marrow and connective tissue than nowadays carnivores. How do you know? Were you there? May it be good to supplement hyaluronic acid or glycine? Who knows? Show me some studies where experiments have been done on cause and effect health outcomes over long periods of time that would answer that question. There aren't any, so we'd be speculating, wouldn't we? The fear of methionine comes from Thomas DeLauer Saladino videos. Well, look, anyone that watches videos by either Thomas DeLauer or Paul Salad I don't know and take them remotely seriously as a good source of information in any way, shape or form deserves what they get. That's Darwin in action. All right? By the way, Thomas is another promoter of Cerule who doesn't understand that the secret to Cerule is not keeping it a secret. With his followership, all he would need to do is mention the stuff exists and where to get it from, and he'd be a millionaire overnight. So would I. You're a dick, Thomas. Right, what's next? Yes. Okay. Question. Do you think relying mostly on ground beef long-term instead of pure muscle cuts of beef, like steak, would be suboptimal for optimizing one's health? Depends on the fat content of it, really. Here's an example of myself playing guitar. Really, really honestly, we're good solid mates now, DC. You don't need to call me professor. Just call me anything except late for dinner, frankly. If you're a vegetard, though, you will call me His Majesty of Bartia, right? You will also call me Lord, Field Marshal, Professor, Doctor. A whole lot. I'll have them all from you. Or else fuck off then. Because every single one of those titles is earned, deserved, and legal. And if you don't like it, get the fuck out. Right, good. What's next? Opinion on sun gazing. Daft. I'm in love with Sarah Pugh. She is lovely. Sarah's a good solid mate of mine as well. Also an absolute beast of an athlete. And, yep, well worth following if you don't already. The Busy Superhuman is her handle on the YouTubes and elsewhere. The Busy Superhuman. Sarah Pugh, Dr. Sarah Pugh, PhD. An awesome, awesome person all around. And while ever she comes across as being very dry and monotone in her presentation style, she's as funny as fuck. It's awesome. She's been a guest here at my home on more than one occasion. We even did a video here together, sat in this very room at this very desk, which is fake. The actual desk I'm sitting in front of isn't fake. It's real, but the one you see is fake. Sorry about that, if you were fooled. A wife wants me to donate blood plasma for extra cash. Should I have any concern doing that? No, not at the standard levels or sensible levels of it. Your body will replace your plasma pretty quickly. The 125 grams protein and 223 grams fat is based on 5'6" height. That's a great height to be for protein and 80-20 calories, which calories have nothing whatever at all to do with human metabolism. So get that word out of your lexicon. From fat, protein to fine fat. Should we adjust that based on feeling from this baseline? Yes, N=1 experimentation will give you the answer for you over time. The more experienced you get with it, the better your inherent feeling about things, the more accurate that'll be as to what your body needs. Good. Is 320 grams of protein too much for a slim 62 kilogram, 183 centimeter adult? Depends. Your mileage will vary. Meat is very lean here, so I've been eating more to get my required fat intake. Well, why don't you just add some fat? Butter is great if you can tolerate that. Lard, tallow, ghee, those sort of things. Yeah, I would suggest that that's probably more protein than a person needs at that height, on average, but your mileage will vary. You do you. I wouldn't suggest that a person would start there. On Carnivore, my triglycerides have risen significantly. What could possibly cause this? Can't get any sensible reason from mainstream. Number one, what makes you think that's a concern? Because it isn't, necessarily. Number two, there are many things that can raise your triglycerides. It's probably something you need to consult with me in the background privately about. The link for that is underneath the show in the show notes, bit.ly/Bart-KAY. From there you click go to Patreon. Join the Patreon service as a subscription member at a discussion tier level, and then you'll get access to my calendar so you can book in to see me. How's that? All right. Why did we invent agriculture in the first place? Because we're lazy. And it was easier than chasing animals around, and allowed us to set down roots, for want of a better term, and build permanent settlements and stay in a certain place. Wouldn't the health effects have been drastic? They were, yes. However, look through the whole of human history and see how good we are at noticing things and acting accordingly. Not so good. Only thing that makes sense to me is that people wanted an economical way to better control the slaves, if you say so. It was more about being lazy and staying in one place. Slavery probably wasn't really a thing until somewhat later. Why aren't carnivores eating cane toads? Well, that's fucking obvious, isn't it, you dickhead? Stop labelling glucose as a poison. It is a fucking poison. You absolute inane ass trumpet. What's next? Having fatty meat with kefir activate the Randall cycle. Depends on how much sugar there is in all of that. 230 for watching, 84 likes. That's poor. Ted is cross, aren't you, Ted? Very cross indeed. $10 US from Art. Thank you very much, Art. Appreciate those $10. That'll keep the lights on for another few minutes. Excellent. What's your opinion on the Bradford Hill criteria? Seems like they are used or misused by people who are wed to the LDL as bad myth. You seem to be the only one in this area that is expert in statistics. The Bradford Hill criteria, for those who don't know, are a list of items which must be satisfied in order for there to be any possibility whatever that cause and effect might be at play with respect to any given correlation between X and Y. If any one of the Bradford Hill criteria is not satisfied in any given X versus Y comparison, then we eliminate any possibility of cause and effect, period. That's what the Bradford Hill criteria do. That is all they do. Nothing else. Also, it seems to be somewhat subjective in some cases as to whether or not Bradford Hill criteria have been satisfied, because the LDL folks suggest that it's been satisfied, when in fact they haven't at all. Falsehood. Please don't forget to smash the like button. Thanks, DC. Appreciate that. And share to help get this content out. Yes, that'd be great. Hello to Ted. Ted's a bit hoarse. Trust me. He's hung like a horse. Jumping chat, fucking jumping chat. Do. Good morning, Harry Louse, King of Tasmania. Nice to see you. For those who don't know, His Majesty Harry Louse Supernosius of Tasmania has been silenced. So he has. He's had his wings clipped for saying words, which, as we all know, is completely unacceptable behaviour, the saying of words and the holding of opinions about things. And as such, we won't hear a thing from him until November. But you're welcome. Welcome here, Harry. Good to see you, mate. And yes, I do absolutely sympathise with your situation, having been in that situation myself, having been banned for 3 months at one point for saying words. Yes. Make sure you don't smoke outside any pubs. Right. Will you create a new vlog channel for your ranch? I shall, yes. Absolutely. And as I say, I shall be selling citizenships to it's actually not just going to be a ranch/farm. It's going to be a sovereign nation. The sovereign nation, we'll probably call it Bartia or Pimbartia. Something like that. It'll have its own flag. So what we're not sure of price yet, but what we're going to do is offer citizenships for sale in a limited number, for which you'll get a certificate of citizenship, a passport, and a flag, and stuff, and our gratitude for helping us to pay the mortgage, which is going to be absolutely terrifying, frankly. I've signed a contract for over $1 million fucking dollars to buy this thing. Okay? Help! Fuck me, help! Right. Anything indicated to help repair blotchy skin damaged by tinea versicolor? Yes, I would suggest that you follow the 5 health hacks covered at length elsewhere on my Fine YouTube channel, where I'm doing that on the thumbnail, so that you can see that there are 5, and so that you can see the palm of my hand, thus making me so much more trustworthy, I'm told. They're good hacks, though. Get into them. What happened, Harry Louse, was the week before last, I was flying around in tin cans between here in the US and around the US. I visited California. I also visited Nevada, the Vegas part of that. And also we went to Oregon to visit Klamath Lake, where some green stuff grows that they make stuff from, which is great. And talk to the people up there about growing green stuff and making good things out of it. And then I flew back again. But while I was flying around in tin cans, I caught the gorilla monkey pox virus or something and passed it on to Her Majesty Pim, Queen of Pirates. And she's pissed, frankly. She's very cross, isn't she, Ted? Right. Are you taking the piss? Are you having a laugh? Because it's not funny. Opposite seasons prove the exact opposite to what you're suggesting that it proves. It's one of the things that proves absolutely that the Earth is not flat. Right. No need for supplement. Of what? Depends also, case by case, your mileage will vary. Some supplements are indicated in certain cases. Most people report great skin on carnivore, but mine has got much worse, particularly arms. Low vitamin C absorption? No, that won't be it. 12 months plus carnivore. It sounds like you need a consult with me to sort through that. You'll find the link for that in the show notes under the video is where you'll find that. We love you too, PP. There's nothing you can do about it. There really isn't. Good question. How is the little one? What course of action would be good for what seems to be a recurrence of leg venous insufficiency after starting to lift heavy with my legs again? It's a pre-carnivore issue that improved. Increase your intake of the fine Cerule products. Make sure your diet is correct. Get sufficient rest. Ground yourself electrically as much as possible. Block blue light after dark. And keep training hard relative to your current capacity. Geez, my coffee's getting cold because I'm talking too much. A moment of silence. Or, since Pim's not here, here's another idea. Pim's not here, so we can sing as much as we like, about things like invisible peni, invisible penis, invisible penis. Stick it in Ted's ear. No singing. Right, good. I'm glad we got that out of our systems. Pim did say to me today, get it out of your system, Baldy. So I think I will. All right. Jesus, walking and talking already? Has it been that long? Or perhaps the child is a super genius. Don't know. Are we running out of questions, folks? Oh, there's one. With 8 billion people on the planet, is that what it is now? Okay. Why are we not seeing longevity amongst those who participate in the carnivore lifestyle, Inuits and Masamara? Well, that's obvious, isn't it? Have a look at their lifestyles at large. Uncontrolled degrees of freedom, covariates, confounds and things. Goodness, this isn't difficult. Jumping chat, fucking chat, jump. Dum-da-dum-dum. Bum-bum. Come on, Ted. We need more energy from your son. We really do. He's not helping at all, is he? Questions. Question, no question. A carnivore in Bali. Awesome. Love your work and love everything you do. Thanks. Love you too. Nothing you can do about it. Do collagen peptides really work, or are they a waste of money? The Cerule product is fantastic. It does exactly what it says it does on the tin. It provides collagen peptides, and my body loves it. Your mileage will vary. Also, if you missed it earlier, very, very soon we should be able to offer to you the carnivore community completely clean carnivore formulations of the Cerule product, main product lines, as well as collagen. i.e. no plant materials of any kind, no sweeteners, no colourings, no nothing, just pure good stuff. I'm so proud to have been able to work with the company to be able to formulate and help formulate these things, and hopefully to bring them to you in the marketplace very soon. Stick around. In the meantime, continue to use the existing product because it really is fantastic. It really is awesome. And that's that. Yes, it's a sad, sad thing, Harry. It really is. Do we have a DEI policy here? The policy here is I make the rules in this motherfucker. And if you don't like it, it's beautiful, you get the fuck out. Those are the rules. Unless Pim's here. In which case, all bets are off. Questions? Questions? Scrolling, jumping chat window, get fucked. Let Ted get a word in, says Shelley. Okay. Right. Ted, what have you got to say? Anything? Anything at all? We're waiting. Now's your chance, Ted. If you want to say something, you go ahead and you say it.
What, are you retarded?
Thanks for that. See what I mean? You give him an opportunity and he just blows it. Oh well. Hong Kong is the longest lived population on Earth. Okay. Also the highest per capita meat consumption. Well, that proves it. Again, association, isn't it? I tell you what, there's also another completely unidentified so-called blue zone in the world. And it's around Klamath Lake, Oregon, it seems. Wonder what's going on there. Yes, good. Good to see you, Jonathan. Good to see you. I see you had a discussion with Richard Burgess recently. I think you should invite him for another discussion with you, and invite me and don't tell him you're inviting me. And we'll corner the prick that way. That's Richard Burgess, who lacks the stones to face me and front me for a discussion, because basically he knows what happens as soon as he does that. He gets torn to fucking shreds. Because he's a high school dropout with no background expertise or idea of what he's talking about whatsoever. And he's also a fat, pudgy fuck, basically. So, there we go. That's the end of advertising for this live stream. Whatever. Yes, the Cerule collagen is superb, I agree. It just happens to contain a sweetener at this point and a food colouring that we've decided in our infinite wisdom probably need not be there for our audience. And so I've asked them to produce collagen peptides without that stuff. And also we've asked them to take out the fermented cordyceps and stuff as well. Everything that's not what the stuff is supposed to be is going to go, and that's awesome. But the existing collagen is fucking fantastic. It's awesome. If you want a story about how that affects or what effects are associated with taking that, at least in one case, watch a video on my channel called Bart's Mom is in the House. She talks about it. It's great. Why can't Ted say, are you retreated anymore? Well, you know, I think that's obvious. People can't say words anymore, can they, Harry? Words are not okay. Opinions? Well, like assholes, and that almost everybody's got one and it's full of shit, mostly, you can't have them. No opinions. You must espouse the company line. Otherwise, silence. Silence from you. Off with their heads and stuff. Would Cerule collagen help with repairing pigment lost by... Jesus. We cannot make therapeutic claims. It is not allowed. The company is an American company and we all play by the same rules wherever we are in the world. The FDA will not allow us to make therapeutic claims. I would suggest you try it. I would strongly suggest you try it. Who's a clown? Ted? Come and say that to Ted's face. See what happens. Do. How can we reduce deuterium in our diet? I tell you who's great on that is Harry. Have a look at all the videos on his channel. The existing ones. No new ones, at least not until November, but the old ones, it's still covered. Harry Serpanos. He's also in the chat, so just click on that and you'll find your way to his channel. And he'll cover that. Oh, fuck me, this chat window does my head. And I can see what Pim's about with it. I really can. I can fully get it, how it's a pain in the ass. Yeah, well, Ted's got the shits with me because I won't pay him for his appearance fee. That's why he's on a no speaking fit, aren't you, Ted? Right. Yep, me too. It's awesome stuff. And not because it's lucrative, which it is. I make no apology for that. But because my association with Cerule allows me to help literally, there you go, there's an appropriate use of the word, thousands and thousands of people to regain their health over and above what Carnivore can do for people. That's why Cerule is number 2 on my list, because it really is exactly what it claims to be. Cerule has changed the life completely of myself, my mum, many of my nearest and dearest, and thousands and thousands and thousands of you that I've never met and possibly never will in person. Although if you would like to meet me in person, I will be in Adelaide in November at the Carnivore Collective live event. I shall be speaking that day. Tickets are still available, I believe. Check it out. Adelaide, South Australia. Yes, Richard Burgess is still very, very round. Fat as fuck is another word for it. Soft and pudgy. Yeah. Yep, yes he is. Is he still stupid? Yes. Is he still inane? Yes. Is there still absolutely no experience, credibility, or anything backing him in any way because he's a high school dropout? Yes. Is he just an idiot? Yes. Is he also a coward because he doesn't want to front me for the lesson that he would get? Yes. All of those things are true. Yes, do sneak me in, Jonathan. Bait him up. Hook him up. That'll be great. It'll get huge views, except probably what Richard will do when he sees that I'm there is he'll probably just jump straight off. Well, he'll drop the call because he is that afraid of me, and rightly so. Pussy. Right. Invisible penis. No singing. Questions? Fucking fuck. Yes. Yes. Yes, I have. You're lucky. You're lucky that Ted saw this one and pointed it out to me in my imaginary earpiece. Because you didn't use a Q, write a colon. And the correct form is to write Q, colon, and then write your question and suffix with the question mark. Anyway, what is your question? Can the carnivore cure histamine intolerance? Cure is too strong a word. Cure is a cause and effect statement. There is no evidence that any diet of any kind or any aspect of any diet of any kind can have any effect on heart health outcomes in human beings at all. Thus, science does not exist and never will. I'm Ron from the Philippines. Hello, Ron from the Philippines. I would suggest that carnivore is a very good idea nonetheless, as is Cerule products, electrical grounding and earthing, blue light blocking after dark, and high-intensity exercise. Hello, Melbourne, Australia. I'll be there too later in the year. I'll also be in Sydney and in Brisbane, all in November. It's going to be frantic. Well, we will be in Sydney if enough of you join as IBOs in Sydney to warrant going there. Because at the moment, in a city of 5.5 million people, I'm told, in Sydney, the number of Cerule IBOs in that city is unacceptably low. If you live in Sydney, you need to be part of the solution for your city, for the good of your city and the health of the people living there, and also to set yourself up financially, because it really can do. Trust me, I know these things. Question from Jonathan. Ever wondered why clinical studies suggest amino acids in isolated supplement form seem to benefit those on a nutrient-dense carnivore diet? I.e., if it's complete, why do I see others benefit? Who knows, Jonathan? Really? It's very, very difficult to tease out cause and effect, as you know, because of uncontrolled confounds, covariates, those kind of things that destroy our ability to actually speak with authority on what causes what. Look, if you're one of these people that finds that a supplement of some kind is associated with a benefit in your life, then that's not broken, and I suggest you don't fix it. Claire, I haven't seen you for a while. Good to see you, Claire. What was the topic that Harry was discussing that got him banned? That thing. Rhymes with Maxine, probably, I suggest. Maxine, 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 no singing on the show this week at all. Right. Where else will you be travelling in November? Isn't that enough? Brisbane? Maybe Sydney? Adelaide? Melbourne? Not Perth, too far. And I've had a gutsful, frankly, of flying long distance this year already. Going to the States and back? 11 hours flying? Goodness me. Oh, and by the way, while we were in the States, we had to fly on United Airlines 6 times within 4 days. Guess how many of those flights were on time and on schedule? Not fucking one. Not one at all. They really fucked up our trip. You suck, United Airlines. You suck hard. Right. What's next? I'm at the bottom of the chat window. That's fantastic because it's also right about the 90-minute mark where I usually say that's quite enough. I've had enough. Ted's had enough. He had enough before he got here, frankly. Pim, well, she's had enough. Absolutely. That's why she wasn't here at all. That and being unwell. Fair enough too. Anyway, in the meantime, really the only thing left to do is to cover the one question that everybody tends to have, and that would be, of course, the one around what it is that you should perhaps have for breakfast. And it goes a bit like this. Steak and eggs and steak. That's what you should have for your breakfast. Delicious. Eggs and steak and eggs. Just making sure you heard. We got it. Right, that's enough of that. See you next week, which will be the same, only completely different. Probably Pim will be back if she hasn't succumbed to her monkey, gorilla, sloth pox or whatever it is. We hope she doesn't, because if she does, then she won't be able to enjoy our new farm, which we've just agreed to spend over $1 million on. So do send us all your money so that we don't go broke paying such a mortgage. Also, during the week, there'll be a video about how you, yes you, dear viewer, can purchase a citizenship to the sovereign nation of Pimbatia, which ostensibly will be said farm of whatever size it is. I think it's 15 point something hectares. Or for those of you that use freedom units, acres, it would be about 4 times, I think, that. Anyway, we're going to have some cows and some sheeps and ducks and 2 small dogs, a yellow teddy bear and a bald fucker like me. Well, me. Anyway, see you then. Invisible penis! Invisible penis! This is an invisible penis, and it's going in Ted's ear. Bap, 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 bap. Doodle-doo-doo. No singing.